right, you can start.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, ladies. Ladies here in the restaurant and men here in the restaurant and men and women on Zoom. We want to welcome you to our first event for this fall. We're glad that you are here and that things are going so well. We are thankful that we are able to meet in person. We're thankful that we have Zoom to bring the people in that cannot be here in person. I have made announcements to our group here in the restaurant, and I just want to reiterate to our people out there on Zoom, please go to our website, womenalonetogether.org, to see what our programs are for the fall and to check the times, because we are changing the times for our book programs. The next event is at Agnes Scott on September the 9th, when we will have the wonderful professor Elizabeth Cobbs from Texas A&M talking about her book, Tubman's Command. I've read it, and it is a very interesting historical novel written by a historian. I think you will enjoy it. And for you that are appearing in person at Agnes Scott, I want to make a note. You must be vaccinated to go to Agnes Scott on-campus events. And they are doing this based on the honor code. We have a very stringent honor code at Agnes Scott. You will not have to show anything, but they believe you if you tell them you're indeed vaccinated. And I'm sure all of you are, and anyone out there that plans to attend in person. So now I'm very excited to introduce our first speaker for the year. Rachel Donnelly graduated from Agnes Scott in 2001. I made her 10 years older a few minutes ago. But she worked in development at Agnes Scott. She worked in development at Emory University, and she worked in development at Georgia Tech. And she knows a lot about raising money. But she's going to tell you a little bit about her own story about when her mother passed away and her uncle passed away, and what she learned and why she formed this company. And I will let her describe it to you. But thank you, Rachel, for being here with us today. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm so delighted to be here and am just really excited to talk to you about my new business and my passion. And when Carolyn asked me to be the speaker, she said, "Now, Rachel, this is our first in-person meeting of the year, and can you make this upbeat?" And so I'm going to try my darndest to make it upbeat. So what are we talking about today? It might sound like a mysterious term, digital estates 101, but we're gonna break it down, and I'm gonna tell you all about it, what it is, and why you should care about it. So again, I'm Rachel Donnelly, and I went to Agnes Scott, but I grew up on the south side of Atlanta in a small town called Hampton, Georgia, where my father was the only physician in town. So I accompanied him on home visits when he would go visit his patients at the hospital and in their homes. So I grew up in a medical family and was used to being around people towards the end of their lives. Unfortunately, my father passed away when he was only 48 years old. And so my mom became a widow at a very young age, having to manage raising 3 kids and selling my father's medical practice and raising us with all of the other, fun things that go with that. So I, knew from a very young age how important it was to have your end of life plans in place. Unfortunately, about 8 years ago, my mom got sick and passed away pretty suddenly. And I had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at the time. And her passing left me not only to probate and settle my parents' estate, but also to take care of her brother, my uncle, who was in the latter stages of Parkinson's. And my mother, who I called a high-class hoarder, had not gotten around to cleaning out my grandmother's house, which had been in my family since 1890. So I had 3 houses to clean out, including my childhood home in Hampton, as well as taking care of my uncle and getting him set up in senior living, selling his property. So I not only went to Agnes Scott, I then graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. So this is my inspiration. No, I'm not a fashion designer. People get a little confused when they see black dress consultants, but when I'm talking about black dress, I'm talking about the tradition of mourning. My mother was also a historian and a librarian, and this is a picture of her that was in the AJC. She used to do dress up as a Civil War widow at Oakland Memorial and as a docent. My sister and I would do rock, paper, scissors as to who got to drop her off at Oakland Memorial, because we called her just a big black mess. But she loved it, and she taught us about all of the traditions and all of the many things that women had to do after their husband died. And so that was, I just knew a lot about it growing up and about the tradition around mourning. So a couple of years ago, after I was pulling my hair out, managing my uncle's estate, and just getting around to closing my mom's estate, cleaning out 5 houses, a light bulb went off. And I said, why isn't there somebody out there to help families and individuals get back to their lives and manage what I call the business of death? And yes, I'm gonna try to make that as upbeat as possible, but it's a little hard. But I think knowledge is power, and I'm not here to bring you down and be a Debbie Downer. I'm here to empower you with knowledge that I wish my mom, I wish my uncle would have been more prepared. Yes, they had a lot of things in order, the will, the POA, but there were a lot of things that I had to deal with that I would have rather not dealt with. And I say that because it is your stuff. And why would we expect for our families to stop what they're doing, to stop their lives, to stop taking care of their kids and take care of the stuff that you didn't take care of? And I'm going to quote the Reverend Bill Curry here, who told me a great quote when he was at the Candler School of Theology, taking systematic theology, and his professor, Dr. Stokes, right, said, if you don't have a good theory on death, you will not have a good theory on life. So there's the upbeat, ladies and gentlemen. So what, when I'm talking about blind spots, I help families do 2 things. I help them get their end of life plans and wishes and documents organized on the front end. I also step in and we help families manage that paperwork, all of those logistics, the cleaning out of the houses, the mailing off the death certificates, the renaming and closing accounts. So we do both the before death, which we're all before death, and then also in the after loss. So what are those things? What are those blind spots that I'm talking about? So when my uncle died, I didn't know what he wanted. He never said, I want to be blown out of a cannon, or I want to, have bagpipes or ash scattering party in Cabo. Never knew. So I just had to make that decision. And that is left to a lot of people. And in many situations, that can cause strife, right? So I help families get that written down and documented so that their family knows what they want. And you can see some of these other blind spots. However, I'm not going to go over all of them because I can see Steve saying, you got to hurry it up, Rachel. But one of the biggest blind spots, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is your digital estate. And yes, you have one. So you may be thinking, what is this, Rachel? What is this newfangled word that you're talking about. So what is your digital estate? So let's go back to March of 2020. We were all just doing our thing, and then this COVID thing just came along and just totally disrupted our lives. What did we do? We pivoted. We were sitting there having a no pants dance party, doing our work online, meeting with people. We were ordering groceries and picking them up curbside or having them delivered. Same thing with restaurants. We were having cocktail hours with the family via Zoom, or visiting with the grandkids or our kids. We were also transitioning medicine, how we were interacting with our physicians, how we were making appointments, how we were signing up to go get our vaccine. We were all doing that online. So with all of that, we were creating a bigger, larger digital presence, more online accounts, more digital assets. So with that, we need to make a plan of how we're going to manage those and what our family should do with those. Should something happen to us, whether we're incapacitated, or should we go to the great beyond? So if people will say, I'm a boomer. Nope, I don't do it, but you did. So how many people take photos on their phone? How many people signed up for a Zoom account or last year? How many people signed up to do curbside grocery delivery or restaurants? So as you can see, the rise in digital adaptation by baby boomers in 2020, curbside delivery went up 431%, digital health 469%, retail and restaurants went up 300%, online banking not so much of a increase, but it went up 9% from 62% among baby boomers. So I love this picture, and it shows how our lives have transformed over the last 20 years. And if you think about when you lost your parents or your aunt and uncle, what did you do? You went into their office, you pulled out that cabinet, and they had all the files, and you're like, okay, well, here's their pension, here's the life insurance, boop, boop, and you just went through, you closed everything, you mailed off everything that needs to be done. There was no digital forensics. There was no trying to find accounts. So we have taken what was all of these things physically on a desk, and it has just transformed into just one single thing, your phone and your laptop. So you may be thinking, I'm not convinced, Rachel. I don't have digital assets. But if you take photos on your phone, if you have a keyboard in your house, you have digital assets. All of those digital assets make up what we call your digital estate. Who has email? Okay, yes, all right, we're done, we can move on. But social media, online banking, cloud storage, shopping online, and like I said, photos, those are all part of your digital estate. And not only do we need to make plans for those because of the value that they have, both financial and sentimental, but like I said, a lot of them have exchange value, your Delta Sky miles or your cash back. So it is critical that we think ahead and get these things organized so our family knows how to access these things. I have a client whose adult son, unfortunately, tragically died a couple of months ago. We don't know the unlock code to his phone, how to get into his computer. Therefore, we're having to do this digital, hunt to try to find everything. So just doing a couple of things to get yourself organized, and hey, it may save you some time. You know, we spend 11 hours a year resetting passwords. So you can get those 11 years back, and that will take up for all those chili dogs you've been eating, Bill. So what is a digital estate? Like I said, your online accounts, social media, your messages, posts on social media, blogs, health records, all of these things that used to be in file cabinets are now online, are now on our phone, I mean, if I leave home, don't leave home without it. If I leave home with my phone, I feel naked. It's my calendar. It's how I get in touch with my kids. It's everything. I don't know who's doing cryptocurrency, but if you're out there, I want to talk to you. So, but that's also part of your digital estate. So I'd like to do a little guessing game. How many accounts do you think the average internet user has? Anybody want to take a guess? 60. Okay. Anybody else? In 2019, the average had 130. 2020, 207. How many in 2021? Think about that. So, why is protecting your digital assets important? That's me. That's my digital assets. I'm trying to hang on to them, trying to protect them. I mean, who has ever lost a phone and it had voicemails on it, or it had photos, all of your passwords? Before my mom passed away, she called and left me a voicemail on my phone, and I kept it for years. And one time they changed over my cell phone and I lost it. And it breaks my heart to not being able to hear her voice. So think about those things and preserving those memories, those photos, that timeline things that come on your Facebook. Those have value, not only sentimental, but financial in exchange. So they need to be protected. Like I said, they have financial and exchange value. Your online banking, is that anything you've amassed American Airlines points, or your Venmo, if you're making Christmas ornament online and you have an Etsy account, would your family know how to access them if something happened to you? So preserving those, organizing these is a crucial part of not only being organized today, but your estate plan. Prevents identity theft. So 1 in 8 is the victim of identity theft after death. So 1 in 8, yes. And it's very easy. You think about it, they go look at the obituary, they have mother's maiden name, they have your birth date, where you're from, your kids' names, your address, and it's very easy. And with one crack, they can, if they have some of those details and maybe guess some of your passwords or compromise your computer, they can access it all. Who uses the Google Chrome Pass or the Apple keychain to autofill your passwords? Okay. While they're okay, they're not great. With Apple keychain, that only applies to Apple devices. With Google Chrome Pass, in less than 1 minute, a hacker can access those passwords and then have an entire list of everything that you've logged into. So I have some plans for you, so don't flip out. We're gonna talk about this. Protect privacy and confidentiality. Like I said, all of your private and sensitive data that's out there. Maybe you have an online account with your health records. I get messages from my doctor now. Your test results came in, or here was the, what we found with your blood work. I'm sure a lot of you probably do that. And I don't want anybody to know how much I weigh, or my latest cholesterol. So, so protecting that is crucial. So it skipped over one, I don't know why, but sentimental value. they have sentimental value. So all of those photos, your memories, those videos. My kids, they forgot the unlock code to the iPad a couple of years ago. And we weren't able to crack it literally until about 2 weeks ago. My daughter said, oh my gosh, it's such and such. And my husband and I were heartbroken because there were all these videos of them when they were super young, and they would turn on the iPad and they would just watch themselves, and they would be, you know, or talking and yelling. And those are just such special, precious memories to me. And I want to make sure I have those videos. So, like I said, here's your attorney, here's all your family, here's your CPA, your financial advisor. Well, your digital estates, digital assets, that is the new player as part of your estate planning conversation. So just as you want to protect your physical and tangible assets, you also want to make a plan for your digital assets. So what's a gal to do? You're like, Rachel, you've been bringing us down this whole time. What are we to do? Create a digital estate plan. And this is something that I help clients do. I help them be their accountability partner and help them systematically come up with a plan to protect all of their digital assets. So why do you need one? Besides all the other reasons, like I said, we went over some of them. Prevent loss of digital property. Protect from after-death identity thieves. Ensure accounts are dealt with after death. Who has subscriptions or automatic payments that come out of your account every month, or auto charge to your credit card? If your family was suddenly locked out, those continued charges would continue to go against your credit cards or automatically come out of your banking account, therefore taking more money out of your estate. You worked hard for that money. Let's try and protect it. And like I said, prevent services from draining accounts, and then provide guidance and direction. What do you want to happen to your Facebook account after you pass away? Or, you know, what do you want to happen to your Instacart or your Amazon? There are so many companies that have interconnected accounts. You think of your Amazon, then you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Amazon Music, you've got the video library, you've got, and then think Google, you have your Gmail, then you have Google Meet, Google Voice, Google Chat, Google, I mean, are you telling me to keep going, Steve? Okay. So just think about the interconnectedness of all of those, the big accounts. So how do we do this? Step one, sit down. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. You can eat this elephant one chunk at a time. Conduct an inventory of your accounts. 2, name a digital executor. And this doesn't have to be the executor you've named to look over your estate. If Aunt Millie is not the most tech savvy of the person, maybe it's your grandson or granddaughter who is in computer science at Georgia Tech. Somebody who can help after you're gone, or if you were incapacitated, do the 2-factor identification to get the verification code on your phone or your email. So someone to help navigate this and help your family wade through your digital assets. So after you've selected that digital executor, tell them what you want to do and achieve. Like I said, what do you want to happen to all of these accounts? And how do you want them closed and dealt with after you're gone? Store, correct, complete, and current info. You know, the #1 password for last year was password 1, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, not great. And this is crucial. Contact your estate planning attorney to legalize it if possible. In the state of Georgia, you can write a letter of instructions that doesn't mean you have to update or change your will, but you can create a letter of instructions, which is what I help clients do to document all of these things as an addendum or attachment to their will, and saying, you know, my name is Rachel Donnelly. I bequeath or I appoint my sister to be my digital executor. I want her to do the following, and so on and so forth. So what does the law say? So we're not going to go into this because I could totally nerd out about this for days. But over the last 10 years, almost all 50 states have passed digital estate legislation, which is good. That's good news. And it's called the Revised Uniform Fiduciary Access to Digital Estates Act, RUFADA, as we call it. And so that has been law that has been pressured from consumers, from clients to custodians to help navigate how fiduciaries, how executors handle digital assets and property after the loss of a loved one. It was so great. It's still a little gray, but this is at least a pathway for a Facebook or an Apple or a Google say, oh, okay, you have been appointed the executor, and in Georgia in 2018, RUFADA was enacted. So that gives you access to both tangible and digital assets. However, this is where the fun part happens. So if you don't write and provide what they call lawful consent, appointing a digital executor, going in to some of the online tools and saying, here's what I want to have happen. They will, the hierarchy is that if none of that exists, you will be, your fiduciaries or your executive will be bound by the terms of service agreement. And they'll say, sorry, you know, you don't have the username or password. We can't give you any of this data. And they're, of course, protecting themselves because they are bound to the Stored Communications Act and the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. So they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. However, this is a growing problem that we are currently trying to navigate and get ahead of so we can lessen the headache for families, executors, and fiduciaries after the loss of a loved one. So you may be thinking, Rachel, is there anything I can do to protect my digital estate today? And if you email me, I'll give you my email address at the end. I will give you a to-do list of some things that you can do today. And I'm going to go through them. Don't feel like you have to write down all of the instructions because I can send you a condensed to-do list. So, who reuses passwords here? Come on, raise your hand. I know, we're all guilty. We're all guilty. 65% of us do. So I get it. It's really hard to come up with a new, unique, secure password every single time. However, consider getting a password manager. Now, I know you're thinking, nope, not secure. There are some, I have used a lot of these. I've used EasyNet, Dashlane, LastPass. Do some research. Find out which one may work best for you. That works best for your budget, your lifestyle. Some need all the bells and whistles, others don't. And I also have, I think, a coupon for a free month of EasyNet if anybody wants one. But just look into it. Yes, it is, people are like, well, my data is not safe out there. You're right. It is, but however, it is more safe on one of these servers, password manager, rather than being sitting in Google Chrome Pass or Apple Keychain, or writing it down in the notes section of your phone, which I heard an analogy the other day. Writing your passwords down in the notes section of your iPhone is like reminding your husband to put down the toilet seat. So that's one way to put it. The great thing about a lot of these password managers is, and when I walk clients through this, I help them find the right one for them. We do it in a process because we can't go from A to Z in one day. We do an inventory, then we get them set up in the password manager that works for them. And then once we're taking the training wheels off, we put in the Chrome or whatever browser extension they use, and it autofills passwords when you log into an account. And also it'll say, Rachel, you've used that password before. Let's change it. And it will generate a secure, unique password every time and store it automatically for you. So just think about it. So going through and deleting any unused accounts. Maybe you went and bought your son a new pair of soccer cleats for Christmas and you created an account on adidas.com in order to get that 20% off coupon. You maybe don't have your credit card stored on that, but it might have your phone number, your email address, your home address. You're like, you know what? He quit soccer. I'm not going to go back and buy him another one. I'm going to go in and delete that account. And this will be in my instructions too, but if you go in on whatever browser you use and look at all of the accounts that you have and that you've logged into, you'll be shocked. But maybe just go through and say, oh, I don't need that one anymore. Let's delete it. So because of the laws, because of this growing problem, a lot of custodians, and when I'm talking about these tech companies or any sort of company, they're coming up with ways to give family members and clients the way to navigate this after their loss. In 10 years, I think there will be more dead people on Facebook than alive. So it is going to be a digital graveyard. So what they want to do is they want to have active users. So if Facebook finds out that you passed away, their first number, the protocol is to close your account. And I have photos on there that maybe somebody tagged me in that I don't have the original, or people that took of my kids or what have you. And a lot of times those contain great memories that you may want to keep. So how do you protect it? You choose a legacy contact. And it has to be somebody who's also on Facebook, so you have two options with Facebook. You can either go in and choose a legacy contact. In my case, my husband's not on Facebook, my sister is, so I appointed my sister. If something should happen to me, she has access to memorialize my account. People can still go on and leave messages for me, write notes, and it'll say in memory at the top. So it's a great sort of virtual memorial site for people when a loved one or someone has passed away. Option two, if you're like, I don't want to have it in memory account. You just go in and you select delete after death. Now that may be, you say, that's what I want anyway, not going to worry about it. But for some people, like I said, who there are those assets on there you want to protect, you may want to go ahead and choose that legacy contact option. Here's one of the billions and billions of people who uses Gmail. Anybody use Gmail? Okay, they have come up with a great tool called an inactive account manager, where you can go in and assign someone to have access to your account. Shall your account be inactive? And you can set that time frame. The default is 18 months. I went in and said, if I'm inactive for 3 months, something is really, really wrong. So I made my husband my legacy contact, so he has access to my emails, my contacts, and things like that, which may help him. Who do I need to get in contact with, or what subscriptions did she have? She told me she closed this, she lied. So, and coming soon to an iPhone near you, you will be able to assign a legacy contact. Over the summer at the Worldwide Developers Conference, Apple announced that they were unveiling a legacy feature because they are the worst about handing over digital assets to family. Actually was on the phone with a client yesterday, and they are requiring him to get a court order to access his son's Apple assets. So while that doesn't help him now, and we're working through that, this will be a great way to navigate this in the future. It's supposed to come, I think, in next month. So, like I said, create an inventory, decide what you want to have with your accounts, name a digital executor, store updated information, talk to your estate planning attorney and say, hey, does it say in my will that my executor, my fiduciary has access to tangible and digital assets? Is that something I need to add? See what they say. How can we help you? So I went through some of the services that we offer. We can go through, audit, organize, compile your existing information, your documents. Is your will under your bed? Is it in a safety deposit box? If so, who has the key? Things like that. So we go through a checklist and say, where is everything? And does your family know how to access it? Help and identify any blind spots. Not just your digital estate, but who gets grandma's pie plate. I mean, for the love of God, we know that that can cause a lot of trouble after someone passes away. People have been disinherited. You know, where there's a will, there's a relative. So writing down who gets grandma's pie plate is crucial. Compiling, like I said, those important documents and info. Protecting and organizing your online presence. Creating a central repository, whether that's a physical file or an online vault, and keeping it up to date. I do an annual checkup with my clients and say, hey, have you disinherited that grandkid? Okay, let's update that. Or did you already give grandma's pie plate away? Okay, let's write that down. I'm also a notary, so I can sit there and we can just notarize all the things you need to have done that day. So, comprehensive legacy planning services. So I offer to clients to help them be that accountability partner and help them get all their documents, wishes, address blind spots, get your digital estate organized. And that starts at $1,500. And I know you're like, my gosh, it is cheaper than paying the attorney afterwards. I can attest to that. So like I said, we will compile your estate, end of life, legacy planning documents while creating an organized system that works for you. How else can we help? After loss consulting. Like I said, managing the unavoidable logistical tasks so families can grieve and get back to what's most important. Executor support. I have now been an executrix twice in my life. And I, like I said, graduated from the School of Hard Knocks and can help executors do the things, walk them through the process of fulfilling their duties as the administrator of the estate. And keeping you in the loop, communicating with your attorney and all the other players. So we have concierge consulting packages that are customized to meet the client where they are. A great service that we offer is our In Lieu of Flowers package. If you want to purchase hours of our time to gift to a family who's recently lost a loved one and you want to do more than send another ham and a pound cake, which after my dad died, I never wanted to see another pound cake for all of my life. I've since gotten over it, but you know what I mean. In the South, we love our hams and our pound cakes. And we also offer hourly rates for anyone if that doesn't work for you. So how does it work? You get a free consultation, you get the details, take it from there. So if you want to move forward, schedule your free, no obligation consultation today. This was one of my clients through our In Lieu of Flowers package, and his grandmother and father died last summer of COVID, and a family of a friend of theirs purchased my In Lieu of Flowers package, and I helped them manage logistics and said, you know, one of my favorite parts about this is she pointed out a lot of items that needed to be handled that we didn't even think about. So I think that's where I can add a lot of value. It's pointing out things you didn't even think about and then taking tasks off of your plate so you can get back to your bagpipes or your parachuting or whatever it is you want to do. This is how you and your bestie will look after you both get your digital estate organized. Look familiar? So if you want to email me, I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on all the things. So email me at rachel@blacktrustconsultants.com. I've also given you all a little gift. I'm sorry for those of you who are not here in person. I've given you a little gift of a seed packet because you may not need me now, but you may need me down the road. So I'm planting the seeds for when you might need my services. So my website is on there for if and when you need me. So, yes. And this is one of my favorite quotes: with organization comes empowerment. So I hope I've uplifted you. I hope that I have not taken you in a sad direction and that everybody's feeling good and feeling empowered and organized, because I don't want to disappoint Carol. Now, my disclaimer: I am not an attorney, nor a financial advisor, nor a CPA. Please seek appropriate legal advice per your situation. So I am not an attorney. I'm not any of those things, but I can help connect you with any of those professionals shall you need my help. I also do virtual consulting for anybody all over the US. I have clients in New York, California, Florida, and can help pretty much anybody with a computer and whatever needs that they have. Questions? Either online or let's see. Or let's see. Steve, do you want to let us know if there are any, or does anybody else have any questions?
I want you to address, how do you go around your house labeling on the back of a painting who gets it? I mean, there's something we're trying to clean out a story because we've moved so many times. You can repeat my question to the group.
Yeah.
But Bill and I really are trying to clean out stuff so that our kids will not have to do it. And you addressed that in the beginning. And it's the digital stuff. It's so important. But also it's the so much of the stuff you have in your house. And I'm an amateur hoarder. I call myself
High class hoarder.
High class hoarder. I'm a collector.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
She's a serial hoarder. She's hoarded from various locations, locales, moods, forever.
And I'm trying to get myself to give things away.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to find out. And then if you ask your family what they want, they don't want to talk about it. Like, no, we're not talking about that. Yeah. So I do think that's a real touchy subject.
It is a very touchy subject. And, I don't want to stand here and say that this isn't a hard subject, that this isn't tough. We all share some discomfort around our mortality. Let's just be honest. What I'm trying to do is empower you to be organized, to think through some critical decisions so that your daughter isn't cussing you in a couple of years like I was doing my mom. But yes, I would recommend either a label maker or write things, or just we can sit down and I do personal property inventories and going and say, okay, Betsy gets the Van Gogh or what have you. So yes.
For example, I have an online account with Steinmark, which does not exist anymore. So how do you delete it?
Well, so Claudia asked, how do you delete accounts that either the company doesn't exist or don't use? Do you think you're just subscribed to their email list, or did you have an account where you would do shopping?
Oh,
Okay. Do you think you might remember the username and password?
I have it all.
Okay, well then if you can log in, you can go in and say, close this account. Sometimes you may have to reach out to the customer support, but I would just say, I'd like to close this account and please remove me from your email list. Is that helpful?
I'm not very Well, confusing. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in the dinosaur, you know.
I think we all of the older generation depend on somebody to help us like Steve or our children or grandchildren. And that's why this is so important to all of us. It really is. And even if I go in my wallet, I find credit cards that were given to me because I got the 15% discount at Gap. Yeah. When I was buying children's clothes at Gap for my grandchildren, and I don't buy those anymore.
Mhm.
And I don't even have the card in my wallet, but I've probably still got a Gap account.
You probably do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking about, it wouldn't even be hard to remember and hard to find out how many accounts you have.
And you could run a free credit report and see, oh, that Gap account is still on there, and then call and close it.
Say that again, what would you do?
Run a free credit report. I have several resources that I trust that you can go online and run one free credit report a year just to see, hey, you know, what credit cards do I still have? That Garden Ridge credit card from 1998. Okay, it's time to close it. So, yes, ma'am.
One thing that you mentioned briefly, and I did it several years ago, which is to freeze my credit.
Yes.
Have y'all not done that? You must do it with the three credit agencies, you know, Equifax and what are the other two?
Experian and TransUnion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I listened to Clark Howard at the
Yeah.
time, and he said, do this immediately. And it does, and nobody can get into your accounts. They
Yeah.
give you these complicated passwords. You
Yeah.
have to arrange for, you know, if you suddenly forget that if you open a new account somewhere, you're gonna have to go in
Right.
and unfreeze it for 24 hours, that kind of thing. But nobody can get in there and create an account.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great thing.
I don't know if that
You may
works.
have
I had my credit frozen, and then when I went to buy a car, I could buy a car, I got the credit frozen. I could buy a car.
Oh, I did it. They made me unfreeze mine.
Yeah. So freezing credit, and so that's one of I have a checklist that I have amassed over the years, all the things that are either totally random or really typical of the things you need to do after a loved one passes away, and that's one of them, is freezing their credit. However, one thing that widows do, I see a big mistake, is they go and they close credit cards right after their husband has passed away. And that may be what they use to pay their bills, or what the Georgia Power is automatically billed. So think through, what I try to do is when I work with a client, let's think through what are the consequences of closing this. Do we really need to close it right now? Maybe later, but not right now. So just thinking through those things before you take any drastic measures. Any other questions? Heckling? Anything?
Well, let's give Rachel another hand. Very helpful, and you were upbeat.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, Reverend Curry inspired me today. So.